When I read that question, the very first thing that came to my head was the word heart, in fact. And for me, there are two instruments in the world that really just go straight to my heart. They just speak so directly. And one is the duduk, the Armenian double reed, sort of quasi-oboe, and the other, of course, is the cello, always has done. I'm pretty sure that the reason I chose to play the cello was because it really just sung to my heart in a way that nothing else I'd ever heard had done. I had 6 piano lessons when I was 5 years old, after which my teacher called my parents and said, you know, ever so sorry, you're wasting your money. This boy's totally unmusical. And so that was the end of my first musical career. And then 2 years later, I saw someone play the cello and just went, that's what I want to do. I don't remember that myself. But I guess, you know, it's the sound of the cello that really spoke to me and still does speak to me. That's what I preoccupy myself with all day, each day in practice. So I think, first of all, it's the sound. But also, when you play the cello, it's such a physical thing. It's not like when you play the piano, all you touch is the keys with your fingertips. But with the cello, you're wrapped right around it. And the back of the cello, which of course is all resonating, rests right on your heart. So the connection is very visceral as well as conceptual, I guess. I think really, again, it's just the sound. I've actually had a couple of moments in my life where I've thought, oh, this is hard work, you know, am I really going to be able to carry on with this? And it's the sound that brings me back. And in fact, I took slightly related, I took a bit of a sabbatical last year. And my last concert was in Mexico City, playing the Protecting Veil, in fact, in their lovely concert hall. And at the end of that concert, I packed my cello away, realizing that I wasn't even going to see it for 3.5 months. And I suddenly started crying. I was so surprised. I was like, what is going on? And I just stood there with tears rolling down my cheeks, looking at my cello, realizing that not hearing this sound was really upsetting. I'll really miss it. That's what I thought. I'm really going to miss this sound. So it's just the sound that draws me back into the cello again and again through my life. And you know, since I've had this particular instrument, that's been a whole new level of a love affair with sound. So this one was made by Cesare Gilli in about 1750 in Rome. And you can see this little plug in the back. It was built for a cellist in a marching band. Very few of them have survived. So that there would have been a stick coming out of there which would have attached to a harness. So it would have been marching around the streets of Rome in 1750. How wild is that? And I think I got it about 12 years ago, 10 or 12 years ago, or something like that. And it's certainly true with the old Italian instruments. They're more complex than other instruments. So, you know, different notes have different feel under the finger and a different feel under the bow. So you need to get to know the instrument, and that takes a long period of time till you get to the point where really there's not any distance between the sound that you're thinking of and the sound that's coming out. That takes a long time to really get to know the instrument, I think. Well, I mean, the huge advantage that you've got on a cello over practically every single other instrument is the amount of range you've got. So, you know, I can be playing a bass line. I can be playing a bass line down there, or I can be competing with the violins up there. There's not many other instruments that can do that. Also, because you can pluck the string and you can bow the string, there are two completely separate sound worlds that are available for you there. And beyond that, I think, you know, it has been typecast in the past as the kind of romantic, melancholic instrument. You know, there's so many films that when you get such and such a scene, you bring the cellos in, sort of thing. But I think the cello grew out of that a long time ago, really. And it's so versatile, yes. So partly the different types of sounds, and partly the register. But I think also the other reason the cello is so versatile is because cellists are versatile. And it's really interesting. I love sort of racially stereotyping different types of instruments. You know, the race of cellists is a very particular kind of instrumentalist. Probably needs must. We have a limited number of concertos and sonatas. So relatively young in our careers, it's like, well, we've done all that. What do we do now? Cellists are always very gregarious as well, and they seem to be very adventurous. I know so many cellists who are experimenting in so many amazingly wonderful different directions. And what I've noticed is that other instrumentalists love to play with the cello. They just love it. Whether it's, you know, I've played with so many different musicians over the years, and they all just look at this thing and they go, whoa, the cello, you know, that's really something. Because they love the bass and the versatility, the chords, you can slap the bow down, all sorts of things. So I reckon it's the cellists as well. So I think the cello works really, really well with plucked strings, in fact. Yeah, I've had great successes with sarods, with guitars, with mandolins. Oud, that's a beautiful instrument for the cello to work with. So yeah, the plucked and bowstring combination works really well. Tabla is fantastic. I found myself exploring all sorts of techniques and colors with tabla that I wouldn't normally do, doing a lot of sort of, but a lot of crashing with the bow to make the strings hit against the fingerboard, which somehow occupied a really similar spectrum of what do you call it, frequency, as the fingers of the tabla. And then down here, you've got just like the tabla left hand as well. So I could make textures where you couldn't really tell the difference. You know, it just sounded like one instrument somehow. That was really, really good fun. I'd say the tabla really is one of my favorites because it's a percussion instrument, but it's tuned as well. So you've got that kind of bass note there to work with. And then a recent one would be the hang drum. The wonderful hang drums invented by some guys in Switzerland, I think. They let very few of them out ever. They made very few, so there are not many around the place. It's a very, very haunting sound. It's obviously a derivative of the sort of steel drum from the Caribbean, but much more finely tuned. You can get amazing sounds, amazing harmonics, and the sound of the hang drum with the cello is really hauntingly beautiful. You can really paint a beautiful picture with that combination.